Hello, I hope you are doing well. I just watched the Nintendo Direct, just took a little bit of a break and I rewatched it again, and now I'm here with some thoughts about it. Just gonna go through my thoughts in a casual manner about today's Nintendo Direct, the first one of the year. Can't wait to get started. We're gonna go through this in chronological order. Not every game is gonna be covered, just the ones that stood out to me. Let's get started. And they open it up with a game that 6 months ago everyone thought was not going to happen in the foreseeable future. It of course started with Pikmin 4. And I gotta tell you, just starting off, this game looks great. It seems like a proper sequel to Pikmin 3, which is a game I really adored. It also seems like it's borrowing elements from previous games. It looks like we have the dungeons from Pikmin 2. I know that was slightly controversial. I never got around to playing Pikmin 2, so I'm excited to see what they're like in here. And then we have the dog. I believe his or her name was Ochi. That's a really neat mechanic to be adding into the game. I'm really curious how, combined with the multiple captains, we saw at least 3 captains in this trailer, how that's gonna create new strategies. And I'm particularly curious with how there's a new night element, how that's going to factor into the game, how that's going to change the way you go about certain days, whether there perhaps maybe isn't a time limit on those days, or maybe they're just an extra element to traversing regular levels. Maybe there is no time limit. It looks like you're collecting gadgets in this game similar to Pikmin 2. Pikmin 4, it's finally coming out, and it's coming out much earlier than I thought. It's coming out July 21st. It seems like July seems like the big month now for Nintendo Switch. Last year we got Xenoblade, and this year we're getting Pikmin 4. I also do want to mention the new Ice Pikmin. And what particularly stood out to me about the Ice Pikmin, aside from the fact that they look super similar to the Rock Pikmin, was that you're able to freeze water. And that similarly is going to open up a lot of opportunity in terms of the gameplay, because now you don't need to worry so much about not having blue Pikmin, not having water Pikmin. And that's going to allow, of course, red Pikmin and yellow Pikmin, and perhaps the Rock Pikmin, aforementioned, to traverse over the water, create new gameplay opportunities. Really cannot wait for this game. And yeah, coming out in July, super duper exciting. And next off, the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 expansion pass. This was the one, it almost felt like a given. Feels like Monolith Soft is in a lot of these directs. Now, sure, the new roguelike mode did look cool, borrowing elements from the battle mode or the challenge arena in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and the new character Masha looks cool. But oh my goodness, I need to spend some time talking about the Volume 4, the expansion pass. I don't even know where to begin. I'm not going to delve into spoilers here, but my goodness, this was something else. I mean, in 18 seconds, it was just a whirlwind of emotion throughout that entire trailer. Just seeing what they have to offer here in this final aspect of the expansion pass. There's not a doubt in my mind this is going to be probably a $40 full, well, not full priced, but full retail release, because my goodness, I mean, I still not entirely sure how this is going to work. They have Rex in there, they have Shulk in there, and another character who I don't quite want to reveal the name of, but certainly the story possibilities are immense, and I cannot wait to see where the gameplay goes from here. Gower Plains seems to be returning. What other locales from previous games could be returning? Could we be seeing more remixes of previous game soundtracks? My goodness, this cannot come soon enough. But I will say too, I think of all the games really listed in the Direct, I know they mentioned this was going to come later this year, and there's not a doubt in my mind that it will, but man, I hope Monolith Soft takes as much time as they can and as they want for this final aspect of Xenoblade Chronicles 3, because at the end of the day, this could very much be the end of a trilogy, and this could be one really for the ages. Absolutely cannot wait. Now, moving after that, we actually got a bit of a surprise here, a new Samba de Amigo game. Now, this seems to add online play, which is going to be super fun, it looks like. I'm just super happy for fans of the series. And this is launching this year, which is super duper cool. And now a game that reminded me very much of Style Savvy. I couldn't have been the only one. Fashion Dreamer. Now this type of game is very much not my thing, but I'm super happy for those that are interested in this. And it does have me wondering, will we see a style-savvy game on Switch? We haven't had one, I believe, since the 3DS. Maybe we'll see one in the final years of Nintendo's most successful dedicated console yet. And after that, we had another trailer for the Dead Cells Castlevania expansion. Now, this was revealed during the Game Awards, and back then I was impressed, and this trailer just took my hype to a whole other level. Now, I'll be honest, I have not played Dead Cells, but after playing roguelikes such as Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon and Returnal, I'm certainly more interested, and I might need to pick this game up now because this expansion really looks tremendous. I mean, they're adding 12 original songs and 51 songs in total from Castlevania, and they just sound super duper good. I've been introduced to Castlevania really through Super Smash Bros., and just listening to those remixes and all those songs from the games, they just sound utterly tremendous. And just the gameplay, having Richter in there, and the art style in general. I know some of the bosses had like sort of a 3D polygonal look, which was interesting, but yeah, this Dead Cells expansion really looks like a love letter to the franchise. And it's $10, and it's launching on March 6th, very, very soon. I may need to pick this up. Super duper exciting. And then this will be a relatively minor segment, Tron Identity. I really just wanted to say here that I'm a big fan of Tron Legacy. I have not seen any other Tron-related media, but I just rewatched that movie again, and my goodness, the soundtrack's fantastic, the art style's fantastic, and the game appears to be similar. I mean, the aesthetic looks great. The visual novel isn't necessarily my thing, but certainly I'm excited to see this franchise get another look for so many people on the Switch. And then after that, we had another big surprise, Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. Now, this was previously an iOS and Nintendo DS game that I've never played, but certainly it did look interesting, it did pop out. But my big thought here when I was watching this is maybe this game doesn't happen if not for the success of the Switch. There are so many games that have been limited by platforms recently, and just seeing them come back, such as Ghost Trick, to a whole new audience of over 122 million players. It's great to see, and I hope that more developers bring back their old content, because my goodness, it is fantastic to have all these options on Switch. Maybe Nintendo could learn a thing when it comes to their virtual console service, although there were good things to have when it came to that later in this Direct. And then we got another look at Bayonetta Origins. Now, I stand by what I said earlier about this game. It may just be too early for me after Bayonetta 3 to want to delve into another adventure with Cereza, but I certainly am happy that they're making this game. I mean, it has a really cool, it seems, puzzle combat element. The combat did look a bit more fleshed out than what we saw previously, and the art style is giving me massive Child of Light vibes. It really does look really, really inviting and just really, really fun. That being said, I don't know if I necessarily want to dish out $60 for it, but I feel like this is a game that could get me more on its radar as time goes on, maybe if a sale occurs. But above all, I'm just really happy that Platinum Games is being afforded the opportunity to make this game. This probably wouldn't happen if not for the support of Nintendo, and it's just great to see developers unleashing their creativity. And I have no doubt that this game is going to at least appeal to a certain audience. And I'm excited to see, what the future holds for Bayonetta. Maybe if we see more spin-offs in other smaller series like this one. And then after that, I have a lot to say about this. We had the Splatoon 3 DLC. Now, we already heard about the DLC in the previous Direct, the Splatoon 3 Direct back last summer. And now we get a bigger picture of it. So it's coming in two waves. The first wave is going to be in Gopolis Square, and then the second one is going to be what looks to be a fully fledged single player mode side order. Now in Gopolis Square, this is from Splatoon 1. Are they bringing back content from Splatoon 1? Well, they're bringing back the lobby. Yeah, they are not. It does not appear like they're bringing back new maps. It does not appear like they're bringing back the single player. This very much just looks like the addition of a lobby. And look, I'm happy for the people who are excited for this, but this completely dumbfounded me. I do not understand why Nintendo would put resources into this expansion when it doesn't seem like it's really adding much to the game. I mean, it feels like just a way to make players happy off of nostalgia from Splatoon 1, which is great, but what does this really add? And I just don't necessarily see it. I'm happy for those that do see it. As someone who hasn't bought Splatoon 3 yet, it hasn't done enough for me to really differentiate itself from Splatoon 2. This doesn't convince me. Maybe the single player campaign will convince me. But very much with this franchise, it feels like they are taking a step back in terms of the originality and just the level of fun. I mean, seeing this, it did feel almost a bit deflating. I really hoped that they would have delivered more. I would love to have seen new maps or just bringing some more back from Splatoon 1. But certainly the way this looks, it doesn't really excite me in the slightest. That being said, I am more optimistic when it comes to side order. It looks like it's going to be set in Inkopolis Square from Splatoon 2. The whole world has become colorless, it appears, mostly white. Kind of remind me of the Unfinished Swan in a few respects. Maybe we're repainting it here, maybe we're bringing life back to it. Certainly a lot of possibilities here. This trailer gave it looked to be more than enough to analyze. This is probably going to launch later this year. I'll keep an eye out for it. But yeah, that Inkopolis lobby certainly did not leave a good taste in my mouth. Almost like a rotten egg. And then after this, we have another visual novel, Harmony: The Fall of Reverie. Now, what really stood out to me about this game is that it's composed by the Celeste composer, Lena Raine. She did a phenomenal job with Celeste, one of the best soundtracks in any game I've experienced. And she's also composing the upcoming game, Earthblade, if you saw that at the Game Awards as well. The art style for Harmony really does look great. The gameplay doesn't personally appeal to me, but man, that soundtrack did sound tremendous. I will have to listen to it at some later date. And I also do want to talk briefly about Octopath Traveler 2. It was bound to be in this direct. I cannot get enough of the HD 2D art style. I mean, Octopath Traveler 2, I was not the biggest fan of the first game. I wrote a whole review on it. Just a lot of structural issues for me that greatly hurt my enjoyment. They seem to be remedying a lot of fan-related issues, particularly when it came to lack of interaction between characters. For me, it was just too much grinding, too much time spent away from the story in the first game. Maybe if this improves on that, I'll pick it up, but my goodness, the art style really does look tremendous, and the soundtrack, again, sounds tremendous. And there's a free demo. More developers should be doing free demos. We saw a lot of those throughout this direct. Really wonderful to see, really great way to invite players to play a game. The original demo for Octopath did convince me to buy it, so, you know, for better or for worse, it does work. And then after that, We Love Katamari, which is another port of a previous Katamari game to the Nintendo Switch. Now, I believe the original Katamari DMC REROLL launched on the same day as Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So this one seems to be launching at a better time, at a time when it'll be given a bit more of a spotlight. And again, I've been told nothing but good things about these games. And a game with another demo that I am super looking forward to is Sea of Stars. This is by the developers who made The Messenger, and from that already you could tell that they put so much love and care into that game, and they appear to be putting so much love and care into Sea of Stars. This is a game very much inspired by Chrono Trigger, but to me, it seems to be taking the best elements of Chrono Trigger, particularly when it comes to positioning and the ability to utilize different attacks with certain position in the field to really augment your abilities and your ability to defeat enemies. The soundtrack is again by Rainbow Dragon Eyes, who did a fantastic job with The Messenger, and Yoshinori Mitsuda, of course, of Xenoblade fame. He did a phenomenal job with all those soundtracks. Frankly, everything he touches turns to gold. I cannot wait for when this game finally launches on August 29th. We finally got that release window. And then another RPG, this direct was pretty heavy on them, but this one was a great surprise. Etrian Odyssey Origins Collection. Now, these games were previously unreleased on Switch, and they're releasing the first three at a combined total, I just looked, at $80. But the best thing is, you can actually purchase the games individually, 1, 2, and 3. They will say you back more if you buy all three. It seemed to be $40 each on the eShop, but certainly the option to do that, I think, is a very welcome addition. The The games remind me a lot of Puzzles and Dragons, and I've heard really great things about the Etrian Odyssey games. The ability to draw your own map, I've always been fascinated by that. Sort of reminds me a bit of Phantom Hourglass. I know there have been similar sort of dungeon crawlers in the past that have utilized similar mechanics. And the combat looks very well implemented. The visuals look super crisp. This is a great get for the Switch when it launches in June. And then what's launching in a few short months is Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp. It finally gets a release date of April 21st. And just like the last time we saw this game, it looks fantastic. The art style has really been growing on me, and I've never played an Advance Wars game. A lot of the reason I've held off on Engage is because I want to put myself into this world of Advance Wars. I cannot wait to finally start this adventure. And then we get another look at Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, which is releasing in just a few short weeks on February 24th, the same day as Octopath Traveler 2. Specifically, we got a look at the Magolor Epilogue. This was previously leaked from a back-of-the-box look at the game. But what this effectively is, it appears to me, is like an EX mode, kind of like a Meta Knight EX, stuff like that in previous Kirby games, where you're trying to gain back Magolor's abilities from the game. It certainly looks interesting. It's not enough for me to replay Kirby's Return to Dreamland, but I really do enjoy that it is there. It does appear that the levels are recycled from the original game, which is not surprising when EX modes across the series have done that. If there were new levels, maybe that would have convinced me. But I do need to say, Kirby's Return to Dreamland is one of my favorite games of all time. If you have not experienced it, highly recommend you give it a go with friends. It's super duper fun. I do really wish that they did a different art style with this game, that they implemented a different art style. The cell shading just doesn't do it for me. I would have vastly preferred just an up-res or something similar to that. But if you are interested, another free demo. Would you look at that? Keep on rolling with those free demos. And then another thing that is very surprising, I actually did not see it coming, Game Boy and Game Boy Advance. The former is coming to Nintendo Switch Online, the latter coming to the expansion pack. This is a great addition. Game Boy, you're getting a lot of great games on there, a lot of ones that define the gaming industry. I mean, you have Tetris, you have Super Mario Land 2. The ability to put on 3 different screen filters, I think, really is a fantastic addition that lets so many people, regardless of how they feel about how they want to play these games, there's probably an option for most of them. You still can't get rid of the side images, but you know, it is what it is, and this is coming free to existing Nintendo Switch Online members. But what is coming with the expansion pack is Game Boy Advance. And the whole time I was looking at this, I'm like, where's Golden Sun? Are they finally gonna do it? Are they finally gonna put Golden Sun on this thing? And at the very end, they're putting Golden Sun on it. It's not launching immediately. It's gonna come somewhere down the line. They're probably gonna drip feed Nintendo fans. So many great games on the GBA. A very underrated lineup. This may very well convince me to get the expansion pack. I mean, for me, the whole thing has always been Switch Online itself. The mere online implementation in so many games just isn't up to par with what I expect from someone like Xbox or PlayStation. But I do really want to experience these games, and even some lesser known ones. And the fact that both of them are available now is just a wonderful surprise. I already downloaded the Game Boy games. So much time is going to be spent by me into those games. I really cannot wait. Really a fantastic surprise. And another game that's available today, the long-rumored Metroid Prime Remastered. It is finally here. It is not the trilogy, which is what I wanted. I already played Metroid Prime before. I've not played 2 and 3. But I gotta say, I am not the biggest fan of 3D Metroid. I've always been on the side of the 2D games. But I cannot deny the impact Metroid Prime had on the gaming industry. I cannot deny how prevalent it still is today. If you have not played this game, I would highly recommend you give it a go. This appears to be a definitive version. The graphics look great. The game already looked great on GameCube, but it appears they're taking it up quite a bit here. And it's $40. It's not a full price $60 game. This is a great get for the Switch. If you have not played these games, if you have not played Metroid Prime, highly recommend you give it a go. It's available right now. A retail version is coming out in just a few short weeks. This really is a fantastic surprise. And then after that, other than Xenoblade, probably my favorite announcement of the Direct was another Monolith Soft property getting its time to shine. Baten Kaitos 1 and 2 are getting re-released on the Switch as an HD remaster. What can I say? I'm completely sold. This is coming out in the summer. This is by Monolith Soft. These were two games that were cult classics on the GameCube. They look tremendous. The soundtrack by Matoru Sakuraba, he's a wonderful composer. And just listening to some of the snippets here, the game just looks fantastic. Very much a GameCube RPG, you can tell by the art style, that era, similar to PS2 games, but it looks fantastic. I cannot wait for these games to launch, to immerse myself in these worlds, and the fact that both 1 and 2 are coming to the Switch in the same package, it's a fantastic addition. And man, RPG fans are eating well here. They really are eating well. And then after that, a new Fantasy Life game, one of the weirder titles I've had to say in my life, Fantasy Life I, the Girl Who Steals Time. What that I stands for, I can't tell you. See what I did there? This was a game that was originally on the 3DS, its predecessor at least, and this appears to be taking the original game to a whole other level. I know there's going to be a lot of comparisons here to Animal Crossing. Fantasy Life is its own thing, but it appears you can terraform similar to what you could do in Animal Crossing. It just looks like a really, really fun time, a nice time to sort of wind back and relax. And this was a game that was by Level 5. We saw Level 5 throughout the Direct. We saw Deca Police earlier. We had this. And now, arguably the biggest surprise in the Direct. A game I never expected to see, honestly, ever. A new Professor Layton game. Professor Layton in the New World of Steam. This was very much a teaser. I have no clue where this game is going to go, aside from the fact that it's going to take place in what seems to be a steampunk world. I really did not expect to see another Professor Layton game, especially after we heard so many reports from Level 5 in the previous months and years. I'm super duper excited for when this game does eventually launch. This could very much well be a 2024 title. Perhaps it could be cross-gen with the Switch successor. Other than the fact that we are getting a new Layton game, I still have Miracle Mask on 3DS that I need to play. The first thought I had when I saw this was Codename Steam. Intelligent Systems, bring back Codename Steam. That's a game I need to play. And then after that, of course, the obligatory Mario Kart Booster Course Pass. They only showed, it feels like they are showing less and less tracks with every single time they preview these waves. But this time, we get a whole new one, so perhaps it justifies it. Yoshi's Island, a completely new track. Really, really cool. I really like the art style. But arguably the biggest surprise was that we're getting a new character. We're getting Birdo, and she has different color variations as well. Why it took them this long to add a new character, I do not know. But you know what? I will take it. Maybe they add new characters down the line. I know there's a lot of people hoping for Nabbit to perhaps make it in, or EGAD. EGAD would be super duper cool. This looks like another great entry in the Mario Kart 8 Booster Course Pass, and another new track. You can't complain about that. After that, we got a little bit of an indie sizzle reel. I'm going to go through this kind of quickly. Blanc is a game that continues to pique my interest. The game looks super duper good, launching very soon. Mega Man Battle Network, really happy for the folks who are interested in those games. The games do look really, really fun and interesting. I might have to give them a go one day. Have a Nice Death. That game does kind of remind me a bit of Hollow Knight. Then WBSC Baseball, for all of you who are hoping to see Mario Baseball in this Direct. Not quite, but you get this. It looks fun. It's 99 cents. And then finally, I have this in my notes. Link with a car. I mean, that's all that needs to be said. They ended with The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. This was the first full proper gameplay trailer. To this point, I was really excited for this game. This trailer has officially turned me into hype mode. We got new looks at Link's abilities. He has a homing arrow. The world looks different. We've seen new mini bosses, new abilities, a whole new look at the story. Maybe Ganon now is voice. I think I've seen enough at this point. This game launches on May 12th. It is launching at $70, which is a whole new conversation to have. With this and Xenoblade, for me, the year is complete, but them adding more games like Pikmin 4 and now Metroid Prime Remastered, this year is turning out to be even better and better. This game is looking like it's gonna sell gangbusters immediately. Maybe it won't surpass Pokemon Scarlet and Violet immediately in terms of sales. So overall thoughts on this Direct. I do gotta say, if you are not an RPG fan, I think the last several Directs probably have not appealed to you as much as they've appealed to someone like me. Of course, last year I got my dream announcement of Xenoblade Chronicles 3, roughly a year to the date of this Direct. So I can't complain too much, but certainly I did have qualms with this Direct, and particularly the fact that there wasn't that major tentpole announcement. We still don't know what's really happening after Pikmin 4. And to get a look at what is down the pipeline, maybe a new 2D Mario, maybe a new 2D Zelda, maybe a Kid Icarus game, maybe an F-Zero, maybe a game in a new IP we've never heard of. It really would have been great. It is awesome to see games like Layton. It is awesome to see games like Fantasy Life appear here. But I would like to have seen something that appealed to a bigger audience personally. And even if a game like Metroid Prime 4 was shown off, we still don't know enough about Prime 4. Which I didn't think it'd be here. I still think they'll save that for the next Direct, probably in June. But even if that was here, I still don't think it necessarily would have been enough. I would like to have seen one or two new first-party announcements. They didn't really have any of that here. The games that were here did look great. Pikmin 4 really, really does look good. Zelda continues to impress. But I really would like to see a few more first-party announcements. And the pacing was slightly off. I mean, when it comes to the pacing of these showcases, Nintendo really has them down to a science, especially when you compare them to what other developers did previously. I mean, we've seen Sony and Xbox really try and catch up to the hype that can emerge with Directs, just how rapid fire they are. The headline segment with Splatoon did feel like it dragged too long, particularly with how they spent so long on Inkopolis. That headline feels like it could have been devoted to the Metroid Prime Remaster. It feels like they could have swapped spots, and that would have been so much better. That would have been a great announcement. But overall, I thought it was a decent Direct. Baten Kaitos is a huge get. Layton coming back was a massive surprise. And my goodness, that Xenoblade DLC. I'm going to be looking at that trailer for probably the next 12 hours straight. The Shadow Drops, keep it going with the Shadow Drops. Game Boy and NSO and Metroid Prime Remastered. So awesome that they're like, you know what, you want this game? It's coming out now. Feels like as of a few weeks ago with Hi-Fi Rush, gamers are really starting to appreciate that. And I hope that's a trend that continues into the future. Because really, it feels like it helps to sell games more when they're immediately in the hands of players that can immediately get their opinions in, get their hands on it. That will do it for my thoughts on the February 8th, 2023 Nintendo Direct. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at TrueMRichardson. Also check out my work on Michael's blog for more gaming related content. And until next time, stay well.